Focused on the board, but why can I not get the? Is it moving? Okay.
These are both.
Okay, freshmen were able to do it. You got no reason not to have done it.
I'm even checking for accuracy.
I did put question marks if I did ones that I had questions on.
That's fine. It tells me you tried. You attempted. You watched the video.
Yeah. I put you on half speed this
Give me a reason, right?
Where?
I thought I had more time. Today we're
You know, I'm gonna transpose those numbers. Oh, you're right, I transposed the numbers when I wrote it over here. It's on my 17, I have to Good catch. I had it right over here.
Do both? Or did you just do this?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be. This weekend before Monday. Right in 10 hours, not 30.
Give me a very good reason why some of you didn't do it. A very good one, because in life, you either have excuses or you find reasons to solve your problems. I can show up here with excuses every day.
I was in the yard, but I was
Give me a reason. I want a reason, a valid one that I'll accept. Because I don't want this half a class that I took from another instructor to be wasted. I help you buy time by asking another instructor to give me her time. I help you buy time by giving you things in advance. I help you buy time by doing tutoring. So anyone can give me a really, really good reason. Please. What do you think we're gonna do today? Smile at each other. Nothing?
Question. Are we going to do
Yeah, that's why I covered it. Because there's about 2-3 questions on the final exam that shows up on.
on the final, but there's a quiz that you were thinking of?
Oh, no, these applied quantitative as well. That's the quiz I'm thinking of.
So not on the
Hey,
final.
it's okay.
The final that shows up
On the board exam, that shows up. You get it?
So the one on Monday.
Monday is a final. Tomorrow is a quiz
And then
on day supply and quantity to be dispensed. Huh?
On the quiz, is this on there?
On the quiz is what?
Is this?
Oh,
Day supply, quantity to be dispensed.
Okay.
Yeah. That's for the final. That's like an intro to ID bags. So you understand what's in the bag. Okay. Didn't stress. I stressed it more than once. That the students who fail my class are because they did not submit homework. The grading scale is not made by me. I cannot help you on that aspect. I can tell you exactly that the students who have to retake these classes are because they did not submit homework. So if you didn't do the worksheets tied to the videos, what are we going to do today?
Well, I have a question.
But why am I the only one making sacrifices for you to pass? That is my question. That's a big question. Why am I the only one making sacrifices for you to pass? Tell me honestly. Copying answers from your seatmates not going to do you any good. Just to show me that you did it. That wasn't my whole point of asking you to watch the video. And this is the worksheet too, to go with the videos. We can only watch it so much, but without application to it, how are we going to learn, right? And I covered exactly everything in that video to answer every single problem in those worksheets. Was I wrong, Rainey? Every single answer. Did I say the answer to every single answer in that video?
not of this.
Yes. I'm only checking for whether you did it or not, whether you tried or not. Who gives 100 for trying? Just me. Not even checking whether you got the answer right or wrong. Because my verbal orders were clear. We're going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to ask Ms. J for her time. So I'm going to go on for the students who did their part, okay? Like I said, the worst that you can get from me is for me to stop caring. My son told me, how can you be both cool and strict at the same time? I said, but you know, Mom, I have one fear. You stop caring about the people around you because you care too much. And when that happens, I've written you off. But I will continue to show up for people who want to be here. Okay? And for people who wanted to change their lives. And for people who don't have excuses, just reasons to keep going. because I wouldn't be standing in front of you if every day I had an excuse. Went to my ophthalmologist yesterday and he said, your allergy is getting worse. I said, it will be like that as long as I'm teaching. But I said, you know what? I appreciate my students who are raised the board for me. That's how I survive every day. And pat a day in the morning. And the stasis at night. So let's start. If you don't keep up, that's not on me anymore. Why? I gave you a chance to keep up. I reminded you many times Monday is final exam. I cannot make any more time except for asking Miss J for half her class and doing tutoring. That's the only way I could buy time for you. Nothing else. Okay? Because we can't be here 24/7. Yeah.
So I got confused, because in the video you say round down, or it's round up, and then in class I'll say, okay, which one is it?
Yes.
So
Okay.
I got confused.
Don't be too hung up on that. Like I said, good. Some books will say round up. Some books will say round down. Okay. When we're in forums, pharmacists, instructors, do we round up? Do we round down once we get to this topic? Okay. So this is what I do. I'll check the final exam, and then I'll see how they used it, whether round up or round down. And that's what I'm going to tell you.
Okay, because that's
You get it? I don't sweat the little stuff. Okay?
I was sweating in last
I
night.
know. I know. Okay? I know. But since I said that, there's no uniform answer. Even the practitioners can't tell you round up or round down, right? But here's one thing I want you to know. Okay? For drops, you can't have a point. It's a 0.2 drop. 1.2 drop. No, a drop is whole. Which means you're going to have to round it up. Yeah? You following? For ml, you can have decimal. However, in a flow rate, it's ml per hour. Right? So I have notes. One answer key says round up. I have another note says round down. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peek on the final exam, and there's a new final exam. If they use a round up or a round down. That's the only way I could tell you. Okay? But for a drop, you have to round up because there's no decimal in a drop. Okay? I'm going to peek real quick just because the finals is new. So I'm telling you the right thing. So to those of you who didn't do it, I'm not going to call you today. And you missed the participation today. Everything you do is double or triple edged sword. Yeah, I mean, you've been here almost 10 months. How many times did you see me? None. Twice in 10 months. That's not bad. Right? Have you ever seen me blow up? Not yet. No, don't say yet. I don't want that.
No, me either.
Only once or twice in 16 years. Let me peek, because I asked for the copy of the latest final exams yesterday while we were at the job fair. And I got it. Let's see if they follow around up. Around down.
Oh, God.
Okay, let me just solve this. Round up. Round up. Okay. Like I started yesterday, I ended with the formula, right? Plug and play, like Sharon said. So for flow rate, the formula is R equals V over T. R means rate. Rate means speed. Okay? The V will be ml, and the time will be hour. Hour can be H or HR, lowercase. Okay? So flow, large. Right? Drip, smaller. Right? Smaller. So in a drip, the formula is exactly the same. However, there's a drop factor constant because that depends on the infusion set that you used. Right? So there's another variable in the formula, which is V over T times C. And the C is the constant. You following?
Yes.
Okay. This is when your macro and micro drip comes into play. Okay. Macro means large, and micro means small. So Yami, yesterday, what did you say about macro sets, macro drips? What's the measurement? How many drops per ml? I discussed this yesterday. 10 drops per ml or 20 drops per ml. Are you following? Because the drops are large, it only takes 10 drops or 20 drops to make 1 ml. Are you following?
Yes.
To fill up a 1 ml bottle, if you want to picture that, and the drops are large, you will need less, right? To fill it up. But a micro drip will deliver smaller drops. So, to fill up a 1 ml bottle, if you are to picture that, because you want to visualize how it looks like, they're both 1 ml bottle, but I'm talking about infusion sets, okay? If there's micro, will there be more drops to fill 1 ml? Yes. So tell me, what are the micro drips? 50 drops per ml, 60 drops per ml. And this drops per ml is your C. Are you following? This is the one that the nurses adjust. Okay? You following?
Yes.
Some things I'd like you to remember though. GTT came from the Latin word gota, which means drops. In Spanish, gota. So I'll help you remember, okay? Because almost half of the class is Spanish speaker. GTT. Okay. We are talking about IV sets. Okay. But once we transfer this into an eye drop, the conversion becomes 1 ml is 20 drops. This is for eye drops and ear drops that has a consistency similar to water. Because the viscous, the thicker they are, it's a different story, right? But for PTCE and for final exams, if you were to calculate how many drops will this 5 ml eye drops have, what is the answer? Are you following?
Yeah.
So now you can calculate your day supply and quantity to be dispensed based on this. Okay? You throw in questions on eye drops and ear drops. Okay? Since this is compounding, I mentioned this yesterday. All drugs that go in the eyes can go in the ears, but drugs that go in the ears should not go in the eyes for one major reason. What? Eye drops are always sterile. Okay? Now, let's forget about this. It is compounding, yeah, but I just said that as a side note to not confuse you with this one. Okay? Let's go back to our IV bags now. Okay, again, this is for eye drops. So in IV bags, where's my large? We have what we call large volume parenterals. Okay? And small volume parenterals. Large is what? How much? Uh-huh. Aren't you doing compounding? What's large? What's above? What's large volume? LVP. LVP stands for large volume parenteral. What's large? Over? Over what? I think I heard it. Large volume parenteral is how much? Over how many ml? And small volume is? Correct. Heard it. Should know this. Why is this so tough? Anything over 100 ml is a large volume parenteral, LVP. Small volume parenteral is smaller than 100. This is 1,000 ml or 1 liter, and this is 500. Small or large volume parenteral? Large volume parenteral. Okay. This is a 50. SVP or LVP? SVP. Okay. Remember this terminologies. I say terminologies as I go too. Okay. Because you can't just I'll teach you the math, but do you know the reason why I'm teaching you that? If you notice, I always begin with, why do you need this? Why do I teach this? Okay. Flow rate and drip rate is something that you do not calculate in practice. However, they show up on the board exam and on your final exam. Okay. There's one incident, our accreditor, Ab, has said that he was a patient at the hospital and the nurses couldn't calculate the flow rate. He said, just give me that prescription and I'll do it for you. Yeah, that's funny. But you will not have those. Okay? Not have those. Once in a blue moon. Okay. Now let's go back. It has a constant because it depends on the infusion set that you're using. Are you following?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with an easy one, and then I'll come back to this one. So I'll start with a worksheet that does this.
Okay. Order 2,000 ml, a quarter normal saline, infusing by pump over 24 hours. What is the flow rate? This is a straightforward problem, prescription, or question. Okay? What do I do first? I look for if there's a volume available. As what I said in the video, plug and play. And to this day, some people are emailing me saying, can you teach me the plug and play? Okay. Okay. So, do I have a volume? Yes. Sometimes it's not given as 2,000 ml right away. It's given as 2 liters. So what's the first thing you do? Convert. Correct. So I do have a volume, which I can start working on something, right? I start identifying what they are, okay? And then I see something else. What do I see? A time. The time has to be in what unit? Hour. Do I need to convert anything? It's already in hour. So it's a simple problem of dividing. 2,000 divided by 24 is 83 ml per hour. Done. You following?
Yes.
Yeah.
The cap of my pen. Why? The cap of my pen went under the table, and why are you laughing?
Because I was like, that's not what's on my paper. That says looking at the wrong.
And you're looking at the different one, the other one.
Yeah.
Yes, the card.
So when it's 83.3, we leave it, we're still rounding from 5 down, 5 up and down.
I just said the instruction. What did I say? Because I peeked on the final exam.
You're rounding up.
Round up. Round up to a whole number because the rate will not have decimals.
Oh, okay.
The R will not on this one, but the quantity to be dispensed has to have decimals. Are you following? How much do you have to give to the patient in ml? Yeah, don't short the patient or don't overdose the patient. But this is speed. How fast should you set? Should you put your infusion set? So it's a different story. Okay? Next. Order. These are all straightforward questions. 500 ml, infusing by pump over 6 hours. The answer is, Sharon? 83 ml.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Number 3, Rainy.
47 ml per hour.
47 ml per hour. Who got 1, 2, and 3 correct? Hands up. Okay. Number 4, the Kari.
It's 71 per hour.
Correct. Who got 71 ml per hour? Okay. Number 5, Kai.
0.019.
What happened? 0 point. What did you say? This is important.
So this is 30 minutes.
Correct.
So I converted
Minutes to hours.
marginal proportion and the minutes to hours.
Correct.
And I got 0.55 hours.
Correct.
And then 50 ml divided by 0.5 hours. 0.5 hours.
Okay. What did it come out to?
Oh, 90.
That's what I'm saying. Let her figure out what she did wrong. She was on the right track. I was listening to her. She was on the right track doing that, converting her minutes to hours, which is an important step in flow rate. Okay? Yes, I'm only calling the ones who did their homework. Okay? Because they're the only ones who deserve to get a participation today. Okay. So, but let me talk about that because that's important. Okay? You may have, You may have done it differently than Kai, but you still came up with the right answer. And just to show you, because we don't have it uniform, my answers were round down. I changed it to round up. Okay? I don't go by answer key. If you come to me and say, Miss L, there was an error on the answer key, let me double check that. Ask ChatGPT to create me a question on alligation and give me an answer key to that. I checked each one. It was wrong. It was wrong. I gave ChatGPT a chance. Give me another 5. It was wrong again. Because it's a technical problem. Alligation specific to pharmacy. Yeah? So I was invited to be an AI tutor where I'll train ChatGPT to spit out the right answers. I'll think about that. Maybe it might be easier to talk to a computer than humans. Look at Sharon's face. No, I never believe that. I'm just saying that because I'm upset. Right? No, that's one thing that AI cannot do. Truly care. Unless you want to be taught by AI. There are people behind AI. Those are the brains that train them. It's probably something I'll do in her time. Okay, so let's talk about how Kai did it. Okay, I heard her. Okay, she said, okay, there's a V. Gotcha. Okay. And the V should be in ML. Done. Because the problem was written in ML already. The volume was written in ML already. But the time, let's put it here. Somebody told me the red and the green is not seen very well on the camera, so I'll change it. I listen to you. It's sad if you don't listen to me. Okay, 50 ml, right? But the time was 33 minutes. And you know, based on the formula, it has to be an hour. So that tells you convert, right? I heard her, I was listening to her, and she said, Miss I did ratio proportion. 1 hour is 60 minutes equals X hour is 33 minutes. You know what? You just simply divide. Right? And she got me without using my calculator. My estimate is this is half, 0.5. What did she give me? 0.55. Pretty close. Okay? So 0.55 hour. Can I use this? Yes! Because it satisfied the ml and the hour now. Now can you proceed? Yes. And she got the correct answer. She must have pressed 55 instead of 0.55. That's why she came up with a decimal at the beginning. Okay, so the correct answer is 91. See, I crossed it out. 91 ml per hour, if we are to keep round up. Okay. Number 6. Do I have everything I need? Similar problem as number 5. Right? So, something is already given in ml, which is 30, correct?
Yes.
But the time is in minutes. 12 minutes. You can do what Kai did, ratio proportion, or now you know that you simply divide 12 by 60. And this is going to be 0.2. Now I have an ml and I have an hour. That's when I say plug and play. Because you have the correct units now. Okay. Let me remind you
You heard me tell the story about the student who kept coming late, right? Okay. Let me remind you that this is time. How many minutes are in an hour? Let's see. And this is 15. And this is 30, right? And this is 45. Okay. I've heard that not a lot of people know how to read time with the hands. When I heard that, I taught my son at a year-old how to tell time with the hands. Because I want him to learn that. Okay? It's digital all the time, analog. But remember, this is your 60, 15, 30, and 45. And some people, older people, usually when they say 12:15, that means 12:15. Because if you divide this by 4, each one is a quarter. 12:30 is 12:30. Quarter after is 12:45. Okay? Back in the day, your time card, once you're on externship, is manual. That was manual. So the students will go on break for 30 minutes, okay? And we'll work 8 hours and 30 minutes. They would put 8.30 hours. Is that correct? No. So it's so messed up. Their timesheet is messed up. Because 30 minutes is half of an hour, so they should be recording 8.5 hours and not this one. This doesn't mean hours and minutes. You have to remember that it's not a full 100 to make it an hour. Okay? If you watch the video and listen to the audio, okay, there was one instructor here back in the day, that's Miss Wagner, and she was wondering why she sends her students on break. And there's one student, okay, who kept coming back at 10:25 a.m. And she always tells the class, come back 10:15. And so she's like, she's late. Okay, the next day, she's late again. Why is she always 10 minutes late? She kept coming at 10:25. She said, come back quarter after. She asked the student, she said, why are you always late after a break, 10 minutes late? I'm not late. You said quarter after, so it's 10:25. We're not talking money. A quarter is 25 cents. But a quarter after the hour is 15 minutes. You have to remember that. And this will be very important in my next topic. You see why Kai solved it ratio for punishment? Me, I just know divided by 60 in my head. Yeah, because I've been doing this a long time. Are you following? Did this help?
Yes.
Did I settle the confusion?
Yes.
That it's not money we're talking about or percent we're talking about? They're different. We're talking time here. Okay? So answer to number 6 is 150 ml per hour. Who got that one? Okay? You know what's happening right now to those who didn't do the homework? They're trying to catch up and do the homework. So they're not paying attention to me, which is their second chance to listen to me. There's a reason why I have certain processes, certain things I tell you to do. Okay. Number 7, order 250 ml D5W infusing by pump over 8 hours. Do we have everything we need? Yes, they're already in first check ml, second check an hour already, right? Plug and play. And the answer is, Josh, 31 ml per hour. You have to remember your unit will always be ml per hour for rate. Okay. Next one. Kai. 111
ml per hour. We got 111 ml per hour. Okay. 9. Back to you, Rainey.
167 ml per hour.
167 ml per hour. We got that one. Okay. Number 10, Sharon.
52 ml per hour.
52 ml per hour. Who got that one? Okay. I don't have 11 to 15. Let me just get it. I don't know why I don't have. Do you have 11 to 15 or just 10? Okay. I thought I have 11 to 15. Once you know that R equals V over T, and you know that the V must always be ml in flow rate, and the T must always be in hour in flow rate, then you plug it and you solve the problem. That's it for flow rate. Okay? You have questions for flow rate?
I only have one question. Will it ever, because I know it's, the flow rate is like how much we're giving them, like the actual movement. No, I answered it as I asked it. It's okay.
You answered your question as you asked it.
Yes.
Sometimes that happens. Most of the time that happens because you say, oh, never mind. Like, aha. All of a sudden it was, aha. Please, Rainey. I'm gonna go to the drip rate, a little bit more complicated,
Oh,
but doable. See my answer key? That is my answer key.
this is my answer.
Very good. I reminded you guys because I asked Miss J for her time. There's no tutoring today, remember, as much as I wanted to.
But she's doing great.
Unless you stay after the module that she wanted you to do. Okay, I can do tutoring, it's just that I took her time. She said you guys are gonna do modules. But if you're not gonna do modules, I have problems. Thank you, Rain. Though you erased my formulas.
Oh.
It's okay. I can write it. I don't sweat the little things. I was just teasing.
I have that book. Don't sweat the small stuff.
It took me a while, you know. You have to have so much experience, and as you get older, that's it. You don't sweat the little things, Sharon.
I just read the book, Everything's Figure Outable.
Figure outable. Yeah, I like that. The book you said?
It's a book, Everything's Figure Outable.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So, on our exam, do we have to show our work?
No.
Okay. And can we have practice?
Okay. I know you're excited, but my brain
It's okay.
is not processing it.
It's okay. Sometimes it takes 10 times. I have to bombard myself, you know. And we choose the wrong person all the time too.
The
She
manual,
turned red.
the manual ID calculation, are we looking at this being on the quiz tomorrow or no?
No.
Okay.
What's on the quiz tomorrow?
Flow rate and
Today's supply and quantity to be dispensed.
Thank you.
Next one is drip rate. Before I move on, last chance again. Is there a question on flow rate? Yeah? Okay. Now let's talk about drip rate. Drip rate is smaller. Right? That's why there's another letter involved in here, a drop factor constant. Are you following?
Yes.
Do you agree that this formula is exactly the same as this?
Yes.
I'll send you back to elementary school if you give me a wrong answer. Who says what I wrote on the board, this formula
is exactly the same as this formula. Raise your hands, be proud. I talked to my ophthalmologist about this. Do your students know how to multiply fractions? Decimals. These two are exactly the same because there's an invisible one right over here. And what happens is you multiply all numerators, multiply all denominators. That's how you multiply fractions. So that formula on top is exactly the same as the formula on the bottom. I have to simplify formulas so I can know what I need. Okay? In drip rate, which is our topic right now, this is not much different than flow rate. It's just smaller. And there's another factor. Okay? So now that I've simplified this formula into this, the 30 questions worksheet that I gave you is not a problem. Because right here, you find the R, right? But with this formula, can I find the V too? With this formula, can I find the T as well? Since C is called a constant, you don't find that. It's a given, it's a constant. The constant people in your life, they don't disappear. It's a constant. He's laughing. Yeah? They are given. Even if you don't want them around. It's a constant sometimes. Right? So you never solve the constant because it's either on the label, it's given to you, it's on the packet, right? It's on the problem. Okay? In drip rate, it's still the same. R will be the drip rate. Okay? We'll leave it here. V will be your volume. But this time, the volume, since it's a smaller flow, will be in drops. What's a small ml? What makes an ml? Drops. Right? Your volume will be in drops. What's a small time? Smaller than hour. Minutes. So, my drip rate will be drops per minute when my flow rate is larger than this ml per hour. You see that? Oh, what happened to the C? That's why it's called a constant. It gets canceled off after you solve the problem. Okay? Let's apply that on the first 10 problems. Okay? Your constant will be in, what did we say? Microdrips and macrodrips. Drops per ml. Do not flip-flop them. Okay? Your constant will be how many drops constitute an ml? If it's a micro drip, if it's a macro drip, if it's 10 drops per ml. You follow it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, first prescription. Order 2,000 ml. Ooh, I saw 2,000 ml. Then I got a volume. And identify it as a volume. You following?
Yes.
Order normal saline. Man, there's a 10,000 units here. I don't know what this is. I'll leave it for now. We didn't study that. If I only saw you do this, I give you credit for it. Because you're stuck here. But you tried. You never know any teacher who gives 100 for trying. Okay. That's all you wrote on every problem that you're stuck at. I saw you identify it, and then you're stuck. I'm fine.
He's trying. She's trying. Okay. Next. Oh man, if I'm reading this and I have no idea what this class is about, it's my first time sitting in Miss Dow's class with this topic. I saw something again, another number. I don't know what this is again. I leave it for now. Right. But I did see another number that says drop factor. Remember, this is called your drop factor constant. So I have a C. And my C is 20 drops per ml. I write everything because it's important. Okay? Wait. Let me go back to the formula. I have a V. I have a C. But I'm missing two things. An R and a T. But the question was it's an R. So I know that this is what's given. So somehow this problem should be able to give me a time. So I'll find in whatever I wrote here. Oh God. Duh. There's an hour I see, right? And I think I could use ratio and proportion for this. Because if 750 units will be infused in 1 hour, how long will it take 10,000 units? And how long is this? 13.33 hours. You may keep this because it's not yet your final answer anyway. Right? Now I have everything. Right? Do I really? No. Why? Because my V has to be in drops, or ml is right there, right? And then the C is drops per ml. And then I have a time in hour. But I do know that if it's a drip rate, they use it interchangeably, flow rate or drip rate. It has to be in minutes. There's a couple of ways to solve this. You can change the hour right away to minutes right now, or change it later. Okay? If I'm to plug this numbers, this is what's going to happen. I have a V, what is that? 2,000 ml. I have a T, say for example, I didn't figure out yet that I have to convert that to minutes. I can use the T here, ml per hour, right? But I have to do the C, and what's my C? 20 drops per ml, right? Well, I have an ml in the numerator, I have an ml in the denominator. I will be left with drops per hour. Damn, that's wrong. Because it's either an ml per hour or drops per minute. There's something wrong. Or I skipped a step. And that's why it is better to convert this if it's a drip rate problem. Convert this first into minutes so your final answer will be drops per minute. Now let's convert it. 13.33 hours, total number of minutes will be. You can do ratio and proportion. You can do hours to minutes will be times 60. Enter. Now seeing this, I've canceled the ml. I'm left with drops per minute. Is drops per minute the correct unit for drip rate?
Yes.
I'm on the right track. Shaking your head for what?
I did mine like this. It's the same thing.
Yeah? I haven't given the answer yet.
No, but I'm saying like the steps.
Yes!
That's why I said you could have done the hour right here and then convert it later. But then I'm focused on what the final answer unit will be. And that's when I figured, oh God, it can't be drops per hour. It has to be drops per minute, right? So I have to go back and fix it, right? You could have proceeded, no problem, but at the end, you will get a drops per hour, and that you need to convert into a drops per minute. Are you following? Okay. So the answer to number 1 is
50 drops per minute.
50 drops per minute. Let's check. Is it drops per minute for drip rate? The unit should be drops per minute.
Yes.
Correct. That question.
I still got the right answer.
Right.
Go up the board. Show me the work.
I had
Yeah,
to watch your
'cause
video, and then I had to watch someone else's video, to be honest, because I was
That's fine.
understanding this, but then the way they said it, it was like, okay.
That's why I have students go up the board.
So that, mine is, all of that,
I mean, go up front.
Yeah, because I feel like when I'm looking at it, it looks a lot more complicated.
Yeah, you could have proceeded with dividing it by 13.33, but you will figure out that, oh gosh, this is drops per hour. It's not right. Right? After you've calculated using 13.33. Okay? But there's no other way to get to the time but this one. I'm not saying hi to you.
I'll try to.
Okay. I'm gonna jump to number 11. See, my notes here on my answer key is final answers round down. That it's round up on the final. Okay. Thank you, Amy. Number 11, if you have a 100 ml bag, okay, 100 ml, I identified it as B, that is infusing at a rate, ooh, I got an R, I heard the word rate, 20 drops per minute, okay. The administration set delivers 10 drops per ml, what is that? How long will it take to infuse? The word is how long. I said this yesterday, which means what's missing is there are a couple ways to get there. You can just plug and play and leave the time at the bottom, but I don't work like that. Okay? So I will put my X on the left side. And how do I do that? Again, there's an invisible one over here. And if we cross multiply, this becomes RT equals VC. Are you following? Are you following?
Yes.
Okay? So because my T has to be the X, I need to divide both sides by R so I can be left with a T. Elementary math, transposition. So I now have a formula for T, which is VC over R. Then it becomes plug and play. What's my V?
100 only.
What's my C?
10 grams to 40 milliliters.
And what's my R?
20 grams.
Watch this. I have an ml on top, 1 ml at the bottom. One numerator, one denominator. I have a drops on top, I have a drops at the bottom. What was I left with?
Minutes.
Am I on the right track? Did I get the right answer? Reason. Pharmacists don't memorize formulas. Chemists, scientists. They do the experiment and create the formula. See, they work backwards. So I don't know any formula at all. Just like when I told you about Fahrenheit to Celsius, I'll give you this. And I'll work. Okay, did you see? That's why I keep my units all the time to see if I'm on the right track, if I'm being left with the right unit. Are you following?
Yeah.
Okay, so your answer will be total number of units, correct? And the answer here is 375 minutes. That's fine. Oh, I'm on, sorry, 11 is 50 minutes, 50. Sorry. I'm on number 60. 50 minutes, okay? Because I want to do 16. 50 minutes. Who got 50 minutes correct? Okay. Watch out for the Q. How long will it take to infuse? That's your T. Okay. Number 16 answer, which next problem, I told you is 375 minutes. Who got this one? That's fine, right? If the multiple choice questions are all in minutes, right? And what happens if the multiple choice questions are in hours and minutes? You're gonna freeze? You're gonna freeze?
No.
No.
We're gonna divide by 60.
Very good.
No, it's
Okay.
illegal.
So now I'm gonna get my calculator because there's how many minutes in an hour? 60. So 375 minutes, you could do ratio, proportion, or dimensional analysis. Dimensional analysis, I do this. 60 minutes, 1 hour. That's why Sharon said you have to divide 375 by 60. 375 divided by 60 is
6.25.
6.25. This is an hour.
But that's not 25.
Is the correct answer, which I talked about, 6 hours and 25 minutes?
No.
No.
This is wrong. It's not 6 hours and 25 minutes because this means a percentage. A quarter. A quarter of a whole, and a whole is 60 minutes. So what do you do with the leftover? Sharon, you watched the video. What do you do with the leftover?
You change it into, well, I just know that it's 15 because I know what a quarter hour
Right. So that's one way.
I said, what?
She said,
No.
I just know that 6.25 hours is 6 hours and 15 minutes because a quarter of an hour is 15 minutes. But what if this is not 0.25, right? If it's 0.33. Pretty odd, right? Okay. So I'll tell you the steps. You take out the fraction part, okay, the decimal, because that decimal means it's 25%. And 25% is 0.25 of what? What's the whole?
60.
And you should get 50 minutes. I see your lips like. I like those. Yeah, those are what I call your aha moments. Sometimes you do it a certain way and then you realize, oh, that's easier. Yeah. Or that's more confusing. I'll watch that clip.
So there will be questions.
Yes.
So that was one of my questions, because I did it in the minutes, but then I wrote the hours under it. But because up here it said minutes, I wasn't sure, because like it was asking in minutes, so I wasn't sure which one was going to be.
Because it's a fill in the blank worksheet. That's why I said if your answer is 75 minutes, that's fine. Hoping that if it's a multiple choice question, all of your options are minutes. But what if they're in hours and minutes? Are you going to freeze? I don't want you to freeze. I want you to keep going. And so I showed you how to solve it. Okay?
Bless you.
Last one. Page 21. Prescription number 21. Because I do know we're not going to be able to go over everything. I picked the numbers, and tomorrow we will go over everything. Yes, the hard.
On the final, are we able to highlight like our
Yeah, because it's a paper and pencil test. Yeah. It's not a computer test. I love paper and pencil tests. Or math especially. I'm always the student who asks for the most scratch papers. I'm always the last student to turn in the work. I'm not embarrassed to be the last, but I'm always the one to get 100%. I had a pharmacy professor once, and she said, I've been teaching here 20 years. No one has ever gotten 100% on pharmacy calculations except today. And then she called my last name, Trinidad.
Oh, you was a Trinidad.
I am a Trinidad. She is terror as hell, but I love her. I'm not embarrassed to turn in my work last. But on work, I have a deadline. I deceive myself. I do it 1 week before whatever they said, because 1 week allows me to fix problems that are uncontrollables or I did not cause. So I really don't know the real due date. I try to forget that because I'll calendar it 1 week to 2 weeks before. It's like, we submitted it. It's due. What are you talking about? Oh, it was submitted. You won't chase me for deadlines. Ever. Last one. Number 21. An IV is infusing at 45 drops per minute. Whew, I heard drops per minute. What do I label this? R, because it's speed. How fast? Right? How fast? 45 drops every minute. Right? And then I saw the word drop factor. What is it?
20 drops per minute.
And then I saw a time. What's the time?
10 hours.
And then the question was, how much will the patient receive? How much? So it's looking for what? Volume. Right? Now, using this again, this becomes RT equals VC, correct?
Yes.
if I want the volume left, I have to divide both sides by. That leaves me with volume equals RT over C. Who understood what I did? Didn't you learn this in algebra? It's my favorite math because it's the one that's the most logical. Most useful too. Personally. Okay. So by doing that first, I can just plug and play. Right? Do I have an R?
Yes.
Let's bring it here. V equals RT over C. Do I have an R? Yes. The problem with students is they just put 45. I'm not that. Because if I write everything, the units, I see it. I see what I skipped. I see what I missed. I see if I'm going to land on the right answer. Okay? What's my T? 10 hours. That's when I see there's a problem. Because I cannot cancel a minute in an hour. So I'll go back here. What should I do? 10 hours is equivalent to 600 minutes. That's why I write everything, not just the numbers. The moment I put this, I know that I'm on the right track. And what will be my denominator? Drops, 20 drops per ml. Now I've moved back again. Look, I can cancel my minutes. I can cancel my drops, and I'm left with.
I know.
And what is the question?
How much?
45 times 600 divided by 20, yes? 1,000. You really think I'd cover everything today? Of course not. But I'll cover the important ones. So you could answer each 10 sets. But I don't want to cover it if you're just going to stare at me and not understand what I'm talking
Miss Elle, can I write out how I did it?
about.
It's sort of like what you do, but when I see you write it, I get so confused.
Go! I told you I had 6 different ways to solve a problem back in the day, and it was a student who counted it. And then I realized I confused my students. So I streamlined it to 2. Ratio and proportion and dimensional analysis. That's it. When I did that, it was so much better, and the students understand it better. So when I call you, which is going to happen tomorrow, you are going to the board, not me. Right? When I call you, you explain it. There might be students who will say, oh, I like that way. And that's fine. I take nothing personally. I'm not onion skin. The bottom line is you understand. The only thing I will not accept is an answer from your seatmate's paper that you copied.
I don't care if you do somersaults or twiddle dum, twiddle do. Okay, you know how to multiply using your fingers? I think we should teach that too. But well, my son doesn't know it. I told him, like, oh, Mom, but why do you have to do that if you already know how to multiply in your head? Oh, okay, fine. I'm just teaching you. Because I've seen students who can't even multiply 6 by 7 in a practical exam. Explain in words. Talk to me.
So when I went through and did like you said, and I pulled out my 45 drops per minute,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I divided it by my drops per milliliter, which gave me 2.25 milliliters per minute.
That's fine.
Okay. But then I took the answer that I got there, which is the 2.25, and that's in minutes. I need 10 hours, which is my constant or my time.
Mm-hmm.
And I times it by 10. And then in order to change my hours to minutes, I times it by 60 to get it.
You're not wrong. You just flip-flop my steps,
Right.
which is not a problem.
Okay. Because in my head, that makes sense to me.
45. For people who don't know how to transpose, it'll make sense. You get it? I just prefer to put my X on the left side.
Because you kept talking about that in the video. Don't put my X everywhere. I'm like, it's going to be everywhere.
Right. And this is for people who don't know how to put their X on one side. The major formula is this.
Yes.
So if you want your X right over here, it doesn't matter to me. As long as you come up with the same exact answer. Yeah? But I'm a steps baby. I wanted it to be step 1, step 2, step 3. I wanted the whites separate from the colors when doing laundry. I wanted all the yellows on one side. Okay. All the others. So I'm just used to algebra when I want my X to be on one side, the left side. Okay? But no one is stopping you from having an X here, an X here, an X here. As long as you know that this is the major formula. You can put an X here. You can put the X here. The reason I started coming up with formula, because back in the day I wasn't teaching it that way, was because students wanted to memorize formulas for each set of problems. So if it's R, it's V over T times C. If you ask me what the formula for T is, I don't know, I have to write it down. But students memorize it because I transposed it for them. Who understand transposition? Putting the X on one side. Okay. And that is very common. If you do it this way, that means that person doesn't know how to transpose or is struggling with transposition, putting the X on the left side. Really doesn't matter as long as you know that this is the formula. But the students who have problems transposing, it's not foolproof. It's a hit or miss. But those students who understood how to put the X on the left side, it's guaranteed. Because it's plug and play, like you said. It's also plug and play, but you're gonna have to find where the X is in the equation. Wherever you're comfortable with. You can look for the same exact answer. Yeah. So 45 divided by 20, this is this part. And then you multiply your C if you want to, but then you'll realize that, oh, my final answer is not right. Right? And then you'll do another step. It's not wrong. Okay? It's not wrong. This is not a secretarial class where you just take notes, and that's why I expect you to come with your homeworks done. Just taking notes.
Wasn't it supposed to be Friday?
Hands-on. Huh?
Wasn't it supposed to be Friday, not today?
I have to go over it. I said today. That's why I asked Ms. J for a time. What were you expecting that we're doing today?
Not this. Are we going over this tomorrow?
So what were you expecting that we were doing today when I
Just
said,
more worksheets, not the homework.
this is the worksheet. This is it. And I do this for 2 days. You didn't come here to be note takers. That's a different profession. Stenographer, court, hands-on. Apply what you've learned. Okay. Who understood the topics? Remember, the questions on the finals will not be grouped. How much, how long, per 10. You'll be scattered. So I'm giving you the cues. When you see how much the final answer is, Emma. When you see for how long the final answer is time, either hours or minutes or hours and minutes. Okay, those are your cues. Any questions? Okay. The rest of the worksheets will be covered tomorrow. Ms. J,